Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Quick Play! Now, previously, we did a video on the NES launch titles, and there was about 17 launch titles. It was a really awesome variety of different games that came out on the NES at launch. Now, here's something that's really interesting. Nintendo waited 8 months before they released any more games. On June 1986, they came out with a selection of different arcade titles. Donkey Kong 3, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong Math, Mario Brothers, the original, Popeye. Now, coincidentally, June of 1986 was when the Sega Master System came out in North America. So it's not really a coincidence that they waited till June to release all these games. It was more of an attack on Sega because they knew that their console was coming out, so they had purposely withheld these games until the Master System came out. And then soon after that, Nintendo was releasing a whole crap load of games non-stop. So that's a really interesting part of video game history right there. The console wars really heated up in June of 1986. Alright, so here we are playing the Sega Master System. And this is the US launch title right here. I believe it might have been a packing cartridge that had 2 games in it. I'm not exactly sure. But this is basically the 2 games that were available at launch in the US for the Sega Master System. Hang On and Safari Hunt. Now the first one we'll check out is Safari Hunt. So in order to play that, you had to point the light phaser and pull the trigger, which we don't have, so we can't really play the game. That is a light gun game. You do have to use the phaser, which looks pretty much like what this looks like right here. Pretty awesome. It looks just like the Zapper. And here's Hang On the Sega Master System. Definitely an awesome game. Wait till you play this. Now, I do remember owning a Sega Master System, and I had this game. I believe it was actually built into the console. And this game did rival a lot of the racing games on the NES. And despite the fact that it's a pretty decent racing game that rivaled a lot of the NES racing games, the Sega Master System had a pretty late lineup of launch titles for the 1986 launch in the United States. It was actually quite embarrassing. Despite the fact that the Sega Master System had a lot of good games available on it, unfortunately, there wasn't really much available at launch in the United States. I'm not sure why, but there was literally only 2 games, which I don't get. The same thing with Japan. They had Hang On and they had another game available, but there was only 2 games available. Now, even though the North America launch in the United States was not exactly that good, let's go over to Europe. Let's take a look at the European launch of the Sega Master System. Now, this game right here was one of the games that launched on the Sega Master System, so we're not going to cover this game again. This is definitely a really good racing game. But let's check out the other games that launched in Europe. Now, over in Europe, instead of having 2 launch games, they had 7. So they definitely had a much better launch than North America and Japan. It's actually pretty interesting. This is Action Fighter for the Sega Master System, and it was available in the United States and Europe, but right away Europe got their hands on this game, which is actually pretty cool. Let's check it out. Before you play the game, you have to enter your name and what the hell is that? Is that a copyright logo right there? That's it, copyright. Whole bunch of copyrights. And the first mission is Sync. It's approved by the president. Alright, so this kind of looks like some Spy Hunter type thing going on here. Let's check it out. What the hell is that? Alright, so it appears to be a top-down view motorcycle type thing. And start shooting. A lot of random stuff going on here. What the hell is that? Is that a Sega truck? Let's see how fast I can go. Get out of my way. Yeah, check that out. I'm jumping fast. I'm shooting things. What? So this definitely appears to be some type of a Spy Hunter alternative. Now, I'm not that good at the game, but the game is not that bad. So let's say if you owned the Sega Master System, you bought it right away over in Europe, day 1, and you bought the game. I'm pretty sure back then, if you spent the time to learn how to play the game, you're going to be good at it after a while. It's a little tough, as you can see there. But nonetheless, the game is not that bad. It's actually pretty interesting. And if Action Fighter wasn't enough for you, perhaps you purchased 2 launch games at launch. For the Sega Master System, Black Belt. Look at that. It's like someone's going to get their ass kicked. Oh, here we go. Here's the little demonstration right here. Check that out. Come here, bitch. Hoo-yo, hoo-yo. Appears to be some sort of a fighting game right here. So this kind of looks like that Kung Fu game on the NES. I mean, let's say if one of your buddies bought the NES at launch, and they bought Kung Fu, you can make them jealous by playing this game. Like, check this out. My console can handle more colors than yours. Not only that, but when you actually kick them in this game, the bodies fly to freaking pieces. Look at that. What the hell is that shit? Oh, what the hell? You son of a bitch. That looks like Gangrel from WWF. That was just me, but that looks like George the Animal Steel. A whole bunch of them. They cloned George the Animal Steel. Yeah, so this is basically the same thing as Kung Fu, kinda. I kind of think this is more fun than Kung Fu. I don't know. I played Kung Fu quite a bit, but I kind of enjoyed this game a little bit more. How much were games back then? I know during the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo era, games were ridiculously highly expensive, especially on Super Nintendo. I'm very interested in knowing how much games were back then. And then we have Choplifter for the Sega Master System that released in Europe day 1. Definitely a really, really awesome launch title. This is one of my favorite games, that's for sure. The game's pretty awesome. Yeah, let's check it out. Basically, the concept of the game is you're a helicopter, and you're going around blowing shit up. And you can tell on the ground, you can definitely see that, like, at least 2 or 3 layers of sprites, or whatever the hell you want to call that, but it almost has that, like, 3D type effect. It's pretty awesome. And eventually you have to rescue people. There should be some people somewhere around here. If not, you just have to blow shit up. Oh, you killed 2 of my people! You stupid bastard. What the hell? He just blew my house? What? Son of a bitch. Then, of course, we have Fantasy Zone that released day 1 in Europe. I mean, Europe had a really, really awesome launch for the Sega Master System. This is a shoot-'em-up game. This game is definitely a really good one. Did Europe have a good NES launch? I'm not sure. I would have to look that up. But I'm wondering, what's more popular in Europe? Sega Master System or the NES? Because, I'll tell you what, the Master System was pretty stacked over in Europe. Right away. This is pretty awesome. You have to be very careful where you go in this game, because there's like a whole bunch of crap over the place. So this game has very, very colorful graphics, and the gameplay is pretty simple. You have 2 buttons on the controller, of course. You can either shoot out some type of a bomb that drops below you, or you can actually shoot straight across. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was actually a really, really good, popular shoot-'em-up on the Sega Master System back then. Nonetheless, the game is definitely tough as nails at times. It's very hard to play at times, especially certain levels. And it was a day 1 launch title in Europe, so you guys got lucky over there. And then we have Transpot on the Sega Master System. Another launch title for the European Sega Master System. It appears to be another shoot-'em-up game. I actually never played this game before. Yeah, it definitely looks like your traditional shoot-'em-up game. Shoot-'em-up fans definitely went big time with the Sega Master System, because there's 2 shoot-'em-up launch titles all at launch. That's actually unheard of. That's actually pretty cool. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the NES had a shoot-'em-up launch title at launch. I don't think they did. They probably had a few that came out afterwards, but I don't recall them having any at launch. They had a lot of sports titles. This game definitely seems to be a little bit more easier to play than Fantasy Zone. And that is Transpot on the Sega Master System. Day 1 in Europe. Check that out. Now, last but not least, we have World Grand Prix for the Sega Master System over in Europe, day 1. So not only did they get Hang On, but they also got World Grand Prix at launch. So plenty of racing games, shoot 'em ups, all kinds of stuff going on here. And this is how the game played right here. This, whoa, what the hell is that? You can actually blow your car to pieces. Walk into like a store and you have an NES and a Sega Master System side by side, and all of a sudden you see the car blow up on the Sega Master System. Like, holy shit. You see the background graphics change also. What the hell is that? Look at that. That's crazy. And this is World Grand Prix on the Sega Master System, 1986. The European launch title, and Europe definitely had a much better launch than the North America. It's like every single part on the vehicle is not bolted together, so as soon as you crash, everything flies apart. What the? Get on! Oh, you son of a bitch! Yeah, that's World Grand Prix on the Sega Master System. It's actually not that bad of a game. And just for the hell of it, we'll review the additional launch title that came out in Japan in 1985 for the Sega Master System, which was actually the Sega Mark III or whatever the hell it was called. And it appears to be some type of a platformer. And back in, Sega Mark III, that's what the Sega Master System was called in Japan. And over in Japan, they only had 2 launch titles as well, just like USA. They had Hang On, and they had Teddy Boy Blues. It's a little guy right there, just with a little cap on his head. It's like one of those Jewish caps, except being black, it's green. And that looks like a bunch of luchadors. What the hell? So I'm not exactly sure what the concept of this game is. I know you have to shoot the luchadors. It's a bunch of Rey Mysterio Jr.'s. Look at that. Whoa, what the hell? The actual platform beneath your feet breaks. And your main character has a gun, and he's shooting a whole bunch of random stuff on the platform. And that would be Teddy... What's this game called? Teddy Boy Blues? That would be Teddy Boy Blues. Quick play!